HD Cameras Stakes is the opening event, and conditions look pretty good outside, although, as the boys mentioned, fairly warm. We're going to take a look at My Lead first up. J Meagher aboard, and certainly this horse is going to be right in the market, currently at $29 on the Singapore tote.
Yeah, looks a nice race here for My Lead after winning his maiden race, and he has drawn a good barrier, which is probably important for his chances, just for the fact that he got a nice running transit last time, got out and was too good for him. But I think he's improving, so I think he can run well again here today, My Lead, and be quite competitive.
Yes, indeed. Let's have a look at the next runner on the screen, which is number... we'll get to the next one shortly. Here is number 1. And in the first event, that is Real Schmick. Now, this horse was very impressive on debut, Frosty. Went to the front and was able to beat Art of Speed, won by 3/4 in the end. Trained by a leading trainer here, Stephen Burridge. Hard to see this horse not figuring again. They take a claim with this horse today.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be the horse they're going to have to run down. I like the fact from last time he came from gate 11. He had to use his speed early to get across, and then he had to use a bit of strength at the finish to fight on and hold on for the victory. Won by 3/4 of a length. Goes up to the 57, but they have gone for the claim here, the 4 kilos off, which I do think is a smart move because he is up the top end of Class 4 company now. But if a repeat of his first start here in Singapore, he does look like he's going to be very hard to beat again from gate number 3.
Okay, number 2, which is J Meagher, who's had 19 starts for 3 wins, and 2 of those wins have come over the 1,200 metres. A gelding, a 4-year-old, New Zealand bred, most recently finished down the track behind Ditta Torre. In fact, its last couple of runs it's been beaten a fair way, but if you go back 3 starts, ran a good race over 1,200.
He's got plenty of ability, this horse, J Meagher, but he does mix his form a bit, which he can be a little bit unreliable, so you just got to take him on trust. He hasn't been on the turf for a while, but he does have some good form. As you point out, he's won twice on the turf over the 1,200 metres, so you got to just take him, not too seriously, because he can let you down. I prefer a few of the more reliable type horses here in this race.
Number 4 is Royal Brat. Now, this is a gelding by Elstrom, and Royal Brat actually raced in Australia at the Sunshine Coast and also the Gold Coast. Having its first run in Singapore, he has been seen at the trials when finishing behind Tropical Forest, beaten 16 lengths. I'm not sure to what extent it was pushed out in that trial, but it was beaten a fair way.
Yeah, I just thought that even for the fact, Matt, that he's had that win over the 1,800 metres, they'll be looking for something down the track with him up over a bit more ground. This is just his first start here in Singapore, and I'd be preferring to look elsewhere and just wait for him to get over more ground.
Number 6 is Rising Expectation. Knows how to draw a barrier. This horse has drawn gate number 1 for the second time in succession. KB Sue will ride, and it's currently at 57 and 12.
Okay, Rising Expectation got a good barrier, which is probably what he needs to sort of get himself back into some good form. I was just a little bit disappointed last time with him when he was well in the market. I thought from the inside draw last time he could have been able to do a little bit better. I had a few little excuses, but his form before that, some of his runs had been all right. I thought his run was pretty good when he was 7th. He covered a lot of ground in that Rookies Riders race. We had the Asian Young Gun series on that occasion. And his form prior to that was okay, so he could be an improver here around the 10-1 mark, so keep an eye on him here from the inside draw.
Esposito, number 3, is coming out of the same race that Real Schmick won back on the 12th of September. Was beaten 11 lengths, did get a check there, but it's got a fair bit to find. It's dropped a couple of rating points, but as I mentioned, got a fair bit to find on Real Schmick.
He has, but if you're willing just to forgive him for that bad run, his form does look okay. I don't like his barrier draw because everything looked perfect for him last time from gate number 1, but even watching him in the run, Matt, he just didn't look comfortable at all. He just didn't look like things were right with him, so he did get beaten 11 lengths. I think he's better than that. So he might be worth giving another chance here, especially for your quartets and something.
He's a horse who's got a history of over-racing and proving a little hard to settle in its runs, so let's hope he can settle better today. Here's Prince Pareto, who is in the market at 45 and 13, a winner on 1 occasion from 7, has finished 2nd on 3 other occasions, and most recently Frosty finished 3rd behind Trigger Synergy. That was over 1,100 metres.
Yeah, and I think he's coming along quite nicely. We do have a lot of horses in this race that are one-time winners, Matt, and for the fact that he's had a little bit more time here in Singapore, and I like his handicap 53.5 kilos, just a little bit lighter than some of these other sort of one-time winners. He's got a nice draw here in gate number 2. His win was on the poly track, but he has run some good races on the turf. Even his second, beaten ahead behind a la carte, who run recently. That's pretty good form, and I think just from the nice inside draw here with Sean Cormack in the saddle, I think he's going to be hard to beat today, Prince Pareto.
Yeah, I agree with you there. That's the 7 Prince Pareto. Here's the 9 Prussian Jack. This one ran over 1,400 metres last time out in Class 4 company. Back in distance to 1,200. Has won over the trip before, but not given a huge chance by punters. 176.40 at the moment.
No, and he starts to need to show something, Matt. Just talking about the one-time winners, he won on debut, and it was a nice enough victory by him. He went off at odds of 159, so the stable were expecting him to run well, but he wasn't overly fancied on the dividend board, and I thought just the way he won, he looked like he had a lot of natural ability, but he just hasn't made that next step since, so he really starts to need to show us something. So
Solid, which is number 10, has Marcus Howe in the saddle. And there's Marcus jumping aboard. This one's at 106.23. He's only had the 2 runs back from a spell, Frosty. Ran 6 behind the smart Kennecott. That was back on the 5th of September, and then backed it up 5 days later and sat on the pace on that occasion behind God of Speed. Yeah, he's well named, being called So Solid, because he's a solid fella. As you can see, he's quite a big, thick, heavy set type of horse. And I like the fact that he's trimming down slowly but surely. He did resume to racing with 563 he was weighing in, so has taken him a couple of runs to get fit, and I like that he's getting down to a weight of 552. His body weight suggests he's getting fitter and coming right, but I would prefer him in a maiden, and I just think, you know, he just might find it tough here at Class 4 level. I know he's got a light weight on his back, but he'll be one that I will be watching this start for next time in a maiden. The 11 Queen Narcissus is the only mare in the race, and she's awfully consistent, and the ratings barely moved. She was on a rating of 48 going back earlier on in the year, and she's basically held that mark right through, but she keeps finishing close to the winners, but she just can't break through. Yeah, and she's got a touch awkward draw here. Yeah, on her form for consistency, yeah, she's got to be entertained here. I thought this was a good little Class 4 event, so she's really going to need to be at her best. She gets in with a nice claim here with Michael Yap. I just had as a rough place chance, and you are getting $16 for the place, and you probably need something like that to entertain her, I thought. And Sam Chua saddles up Shen Kim, number 12, who has done most of its racing on the poly track. It's currently at 193.37. Oscar Chavez to ride. Yeah, he's a lightly framed horse at 479 kilos, and I quite like him as a horse, and I think he will pick up a race. I would prefer him though being in a maiden, or you know, he's offering a rating here of 46, so I think it's going to be tough for him. But he's the type of horse, so I think he'll run some sort of race just because he's lightly framed and got a nice light load to carry with Oscar Chavez to ride, and Chavez has been doing a fair bit of riding on him. I haven't got him in the top 4, but wouldn't be surprised if he ran a cheeky race, but a little bit like So Solid, would prefer him in a maiden race. Stephen Burridge has the favourite here, number 1 Real Schmick. It's at 9-5 and dominates the market here for the first. Out then to number 5, which is My Lead at 26-9. Number 7 Prince Pareto 43-12. Out then to a 6 Rising Expectation 56-12, and number 3, which is Esposito 71-16, and number 11 Queen Narcissus the mare at 76-16. So claims and overweights for this event: Real Schmick, Apprentice M Fidal's claiming 1, Royal Brat M Sahimi claiming 1, Queen Narcissus Apprentice M Yap claims 4.5 kilo over Oscar Chavez on Shen Kim. We actually probably need to check that claim with Fidal. So I thought he was claiming more than 1 kilo. Well, he was down to claim 4, wasn't he? And significant on the favourite as well. So that's what we've got at the moment. But anyway, let's fire in some tips. Yes, try and find some winners on this huge day, the first of 11 races. Frosty, I'm going with 7 Prince Pareto to win the first. For Sean Cormack and John Meagher, of course, John had a double on Friday night, so hoping the stable continues on its winning way. Prince Pareto to beat Real Schmick. Nothing wrong with its first up win. For Stephen Burridge, 8 is a scratching, so we'll cross that one out. Number 2, Do Re Mi La for third. And with one of my selections of Scratching Frosty, I can put in My Lead, number 5, for fourth. So just recapping my selections here: 7, 1, 2 and also 5.
Okay, Matt, my numbers here are 7, 1, 5 and 6. So 7, 1, 5 and 6 for me. And just updating the late mail for you, Real Schmick is the late mail here in race number 1. So it's race 1, number 1. Then we go later on, we've got Trafalgar Legacy and also Merchant as the late mail. So Trafalgar Legacy is 6-4 and Merchant is 10-2.
Right, that's the late mail. Let's head upstairs to Craig. And what do you like in the first, Craig?
Give you those in just a moment, Matt, but I've just logged on to the website, and Real Schmick for Dow's is definitely claiming 4 here. Royal Brat's Jaime claims 1. Queen Narcissus Michael Yap claims 4, and Shen Kim Oscar Chavez is a half kilo overweight. So take note of that. We had the wrong information on the screen. Real Schmick for Dow's definitely claiming the 4 kilos off. It's back to right at 53. Go for it to score here. 9 and 5 favourite. So important information we need to give you there, that he takes his full claim as you would have expected. Real Schmick to score from My Lead. So 1, 5, 7 and 3. I think Prince Pareto a good chance in third, and Esposito just a rough place chance here. He's at $69 and might be able to spice up the quartet tickets here in the first if he can get into the top 4. So I'm going to mark them as a 1, 5, 7 and 3. 1, 5, 7 and 3. But a short price favourite, Real Schmick, here in the opening race. He went off at about 7.5 to 1, $43 at his first start here in Singapore, but he was very impressive. And with the claim, good barrier draw, he does look the one to be on here in the opening event. So 1, 5, 7 and 3 for me in the opener as they head around to the barrier stalls.
Righto, Craig. So runners on the track here for the first of 11, and it is Real Schmick. He showed a lot of pace on debut, didn't he, Frosty? Of course, when we say debut, he was a horse that raced in in a couple of states. In fact, he was a winner at Colac, if you go back to November of 2009. Now, Colac's about 2.5 hours from Melbourne, so that's in Victoria. And then the horse, I'm not sure if he was sold or he tried his luck in Queensland, and he ran a good race up there, finishing second to Ipswich. He also was beaten 5 3/4 at Doomben. Now, just recapping what Craig has just told us, that Apprentice M for Dow's is claiming 4 kilos on Real Schmick. M Sahami claiming 1. Queen Narcissus, M Yap claiming 4, and Oscar Chavez a half kilo over. Back to Real Schmick, Frosty, a former Australian horse, and created quite an impression with his win first up.
Yeah, it was a nice win. It was, as I said in the yard, I like the thing about that he done it at both ends. He showed a bit of speed to get across from his barrier 11, and then he settled on the pace, and then showed a bit of speed to kick on. He was on the same course, the A course, but he was on the long course. It's always tough to hold them out, but he did hold off the challenge of Art of Speed, and he was too good for him. And today's going to be up there on the speed again. There he is on camera.
Yeah, didn't see what happened there, Frost, but Freddie Fidal's was leading this horse for a way, so whether he just shied and he just got tipped off or rolled down the side, I'm not sure, but he actually led it for about 50 metres before the size, and also the Mount Clark was able to go down and assist him to get back aboard. So just a little incident going to the start, but no harm done by the looks.
Okay, so there is the favourite, Real Schmick. Certainly looks composed enough. I think a really interesting runner here is the second favourite, My Lead, just on the fact that it was good enough to beat a horse called Lil Miss Chatterbox last time out back on the 10th of September. We've since seen Lil Miss Chatterbox run really well against a horse called Rotorua, who had proven form and had been running against some really nice types. So Real Schmick, he'd want to be on his game, because My Lead's no slouch, and his win last time I thought was terrific, this 3-year-old.
Yeah, and I think he'll be like stalking the speed and just being behind him. He'll get a lovely box seat run, you would imagine, from his inside draw. And he's got the 2 speed horses drawn inside him, so I think Maria will just give him a nice cuddle. And that's what happened last time. He was able to give him a beautiful ride off gate 2, got out at the right time and did lengthen out for a nice win. Little Miss Chatterbox, as you talked about, she did run him to half a length, but there was a good gap of about nearly 6 lengths back to the third horse. But the testing material here to Real Schmick, I think, is Prince Pareto. He's got a nice inside draw. He's got a light handicap, 53.5 kilos. He's an on-pace runner, and he's performed well on the turf before. He hasn't won on this surface, but a second behind a la carte on the turf. Only beaten ahead on that occasion. He's good enough to seem to be very competitive here, and there's any fault with the favourite. I think he's the one that can beat him here, number 7, Prince Pareto, currently at $32.
Yeah, he's had just the one run back from a brief spell, and hasn't raced for just on 3 weeks. Raced wide at his last couple of starts. And Frosty's pretty keen on this one, Prince Pareto, and it's a pretty good price as well. It's just firming up now, 32 and 8. And the favourite, Real Schmick, 11 and 7, with My Lead at 29 and 9. They really dominate the market. Out then to Rising Expectation, who was coming off a 7th last time out behind Commons Gem. That was in Class 4 company as well. KB Sue will come from gate number 1.
Yeah, I thought the 3 and the 6, if you're sort of willing to forgive them for a couple of sort of half-ordinary runs at their last start, you could entertain them here, Esposito and also Rising Expectation. Would have liked to have seen Esposito draw a bit better, but his form was quite good before his last start, where he just didn't look happy at all in the run, Esposito. And Rising Expectation looked a little bit disappointing last time, had a few little excuses, and he has had a few excuses these last couple of starts. He could bounce out and run really well here, number 6 from gate number 1, Rising Expectation. He's currently at 62 and 12.
So runners just milling around at the start here for the first event. If you are just joining us, just to let you know, the track is yielding the penetrometer 5.4. They had 45 mils of rain last night. Quite a storm came through, but Frosty and I were out on the surface not too long ago, and it seemed in very good condition for a Group 1 day. Of course, the Panasonic Kranji Mile, the feature, race number 9. $11 Real Schmick. My Lead at 32, and money coming for Prince Pareto into 27. The field about to load as we head up to your race caller, Craig Evans.
Thanks for that, Matt. We've just had the Group 1 Turnbull Stakes at Flemington in Australia over on Horse Racing 89, and the Grand Old Campaigner zipping, defeating Shocking, Shootout and Metal Bender. Always an important lead up to the big spring features, the Cox Plate, Caulfield Cup and also the Melbourne Cup. Now they're moving in nicely here for the opening event. Rising Expectation goes along, Prince Pareto in the yellow and black going up towards the gates. Newcomer to Singapore, Royal Brat, just waiting his turn. Real Schmick about to go in. He created a big impression here at his first start. Here he is going into the gates in the Steve Burridge colours, the blue, orange and white diagonals. This is My Lead coming along from Marira. Esposito about to go in the Tarnpur colours. Shen Kim, Queen Narcissus, Do Re Mi La out of the lineup. So we're almost set for the first. Just take note that late scratching was in race 4, number 2000 Light on veterinary grounds. Do Re Mi La coming in, so we're almost set for the first. Panasonic Kranji Mile Day from Singapore, and they're right to run. Set for the first. Now they're off. Real Schmick left with them. Prince Pareto the best away. Also Rising Expectation. Real Schmick's going to be right there. My Lead not far away. Shen Kim, a length and a half to So Solid as they settle down. Going forward, Royal Brat. Then Do Re Mi La, Prussian Jack, Esposito, and missing it badly. Queen Narcissus is about 7 or 8 lengths from the second last runner. Off the back they come, and Real Schmick doing a bit of work up on the outside of Prince Pareto. They were followed then by My Lead, travelling into it nicely from Marira. Outside of him is Shen Kim, followed by Rising Expectation, then 4 lengths to So Solid. Behind them, Royal Brat, Do Re Mi La, Prussian Jack, Esposito, and last of all, Queen Narcissus. Down to the bend, 500 metres to go, and Real Schmick worked to the fence. He led over Prince Pareto as they turn. My Lead now asked for its effort on the outside, followed by Rising Expectation. Then came Shen Kim. Prince Pareto at the 300 went up to Real Schmick. He needs to lift the favourite. Prince Pareto's got a length on Real Schmick, trying to dig in. Then My Lead, Rising Expectation, but Cormack gave a couple behind the saddle to Prince Pareto, and it charged away from Real Schmick. Rising Expectation, So Solid, My Lead battle away, but Prince Pareto in the first. Prince Pareto wins it easily. Second, Rising Expectation, a nose in front of Real Schmick, and then So Solid. My Lead dropped off late from Shen Kim, Esposito. Behind them, Prussian Jack, Do Re Mi La, Royal Brat, and the last to come in was Queen Narcissus. It was too easy in the end, and Cormack's just ridden a gem of a race here. An absolute gem of a race on Prince Pareto. He just kicked up enough to keep Real Schmick off the fence initially. So Fidau's had to just give one or two into the ribs of Real Smick to kick it up and click it along to find the fence. So Cormack was very mindful of the fact he had a rookie rider outside him on the favourite. He's just made him work a little bit. He's made him force his hand at the 800 metres, way too far from home. He hasn't done much wrong for Dowes, but Cormack has probably just played a little bit of mind games with him off the back straight. Then he's peeled off his back and has collared him at the 300 metres and has careered away. So 4 kilos is good, but you can't replace experience, and I think that was the key here. And the horse is obviously pretty smart as well. Prince Pareto for Sean Cormack and John Meagher. Continuing a good weekend for John with a couple here on Friday night. Second goes the way of Real Smick for Freddie Fidowes and Steve Burridge. Second goes the way of Rising Expectation. KB Sue and Brian Dean just getting over the top of Real Smick, Freddie Fidowes and Steve Burridge. So 7, 6, 1 and 10. 7, 6, 1 and 10. So at about 4 to 1 here, Prince Pareto in the opening race. Prince Pareto is a New Zealand 4-year-old by No Excuse Needed out of Vera Pro Gratis for Black Gold Racing. Lovely set of racing silks too. John Meagher, Sean Cormack, the combination here. Second in number 6, Rising Expectation, 4-year-old Aussie bred by Magic of Sydney for Brian Dean, KB Sue, and Real Smick, a country real 4-year-old for Steve Burridge and Freddie Fidowes. So John Meagher started off the program in great order here after a winning double on Friday.
Yes, the stable's going very well, Craig. John joins me now. Well done, John.
Yes, thanks. That was good. It's a good win. Well, he's come a bit solid now. Last time he was a bit weak and a little light, and I found him difficult to train. But now he's, he's sort of standing up to a bit of pressure. So, he might go on and be a pretty handy horse for us.
Had the favourite in the race, Real Schmick, another one who liked to show pace. It was they looked to be going along in the race, but your horse just kept going.
Well, as I said, he's got a bit solid, and he's holding body weight now, and he's always been a horse of potential. So I just knew he was a bit immature. He's a lightly raced 4-year-old, so he's had every chance through myself and the boys, and the owners obviously being patient. So I'm delighted with the win, and actually never heard him to win, so it was pretty good.
Just quickly, you've got quite a few horses here today. John Lim's Fighter, a horse coming up later on, ran well behind Antini last time.
Well, he's a wonderful old horse. Look at his form. He's tough. He's durable. He always puts in. So it'd be great if he could win. But I got a lot of time for him because of the fact that he's a great old war horse. So he's won a group race here. So and he's had 60 or 75 or 70 runs or something. So he's been a great money spinner, and he's been a joy to train. So he's doing a great job for us. But like you say, it'd be pretty nice if he won.
Congratulations with Prince Pareto in the first.
Thanks very much.
And well done to Sean Cormack. And we'll see him later on in those black and gold colours for Collect the Cash. He's also trained by John Meagher, the last start winner. He's taking on Mr. Raffles in race 3. That should be a good contest, the third. And with Sean Cormack having another ride for John Meagher a little bit later on with Collect the Cash. But he's got the result here with Prince Pareto in the first race. And a nice ride too. And like Craig said, he had him in a striking position all the way and just made the leader work a bit, Real Smick. There's John Meagher and Daniel having a chat to Sean Cormack. Picked them up in the home straight, and Real Smick led them into the home straight, but Prince Pareto just peeled off his back and was ready to strike and went to him pretty quickly. And he starts to forge along. My Lead was out and ran on well. Another nice effort by him, My Lead. In behind them, Rising Expectation. KB coming in between runners there. He ran on well. And on the rails, we have So Solid. His effort was quite good. Keep an eye on him next time. Shen Kim not far away, but today was the day for Prince Pareto. And Matt's down there with the winning jockey.
Yeah, we've got Sean down here. Well done, Sean. Good way to start the day on a Group 1 day. You showed a lot of courage, this horse. They seemingly went along quite quickly early on.
Yeah, he had a lot of speed himself, and it was always going to be, one of the three of us drawn well who were going to place ourselves well. He got there very early, and I just needed a bit of cover, and I let the apprentice go ahead of me. And then I just had to look for a way out, and when he quickened up, I knew it was going to be hard to beat him with a short course,
You wear same colours later on with a horse called Collect the Cash. It looks like it'll be hard to beat.
There's a horse called Mr. Raffles in the race. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's pretty talented. And listen, this horse, I trialled him, Collect the Cash. I trialled him the other day. I thought he trialled very, very well. But we got our work cut out.
All right, well done with your victory in the first.
Thank you very much.
Sean Cormack there, who takes on Mr. Raffles a little later on today, and he's spot on. That'll be
awfully hard to beat. In fact, there's plenty of good judges tipping Mr. Raffles to win that race. One trained by Stephen Burridge. It's 7, 6, 1, 10 and 5. 110.13 the race time, 2.5 by a neck. 7, 6, 1, 10, 5 on the first.
Now they're off. Real Smick left with them. Prince Pareto the best away. Also Rising Expectation. Real Smick's going to be right there. My Lead. Not far away Shen Kim. A length and a half to So Solid as they settle down. Going forward Royal Brat. Then J Meagher, Prussian Jack Esposito, and missing it badly Queen Narcissus is about 7 or 8 lengths from the second last runner. Off the back they come, and Real Smick doing a bit of work up on the outside of Prince Pareto. They were followed then by My Lead, travelling into it nicely for Marira. Outside of him is Shen Kim, followed by Rising Expectation, then 4 lengths to So Solid. Behind them Royal Brat, J Meagher, Prussian Jack Esposito, and last of all Queen Narcissus. Down to the bend, 500 metres to go, and Real Smick worked to the fence. He led over Prince Pareto as they turn. My Lead now asked for its effort on the outside, followed by Rising Expectation. Then came Shen Kim. Prince Pareto at the 300 went up to Real Smick. He needs to lift the favourite. Prince Pareto's got a length on Real Smick, trying to dig in. Then My Lead, Rising Expectation, but Cormack gave a couple behind the saddle to Prince Pareto, and it charged away from Real Smick. Rising Expectation, So Solid, My Lead battle away, but Prince Pareto in the first. Prince Pareto wins it easily. Second, Rising Expectation. A nose in front of Real Smick, and then So Solid. My Lead dropped off late from Shen Kim, Esposito. Behind them Prussian Jack, J Meagher, Royal Brat, and the last to come in was Queen Narcissus.
7, 6, 1 and 10 is the all clear through. Race 1 was taken out by number 7, Prince Pareto. Sean Cormack returns 26 for the win and 7 for the place. Rising Expectation 17 and Real Schmick $5. So Solid got into 4th. The forecast between the Prince Pareto and Rising Expectation will return $50. That's a pretty good forecast dividend for you. The place forecast for 6 and 7 is $10. 1 and 7 is 3, and 1 and 6 is 10. The quartet 4,596. The TSA 205, 23 for the trio, and 110.13. Prince Pareto, too good for Rising Expectation. Real Smick, So Solid, My Lead. The top 5 went well. So too Shen Kim, his effort was good in 6. Let's go across the page. The first 635 and 46.6. So they did run along a little bit early. Yep. And we come into 9th position was Prussian.